The thing about telekinesis. Oh, you can move things with your mind. Do you know how hard it is for me to do things with my mind right now?
Yes, I'm stitching my own video because I haven't been able to let this go. So here is why telekinesis would, scientifically speaking, be exhausting and might even cook your brain. Obviously, telekinesis doesn't exist. But for the sake of argument, let's assume that your brain is able to produce a force that can propagate out through the air and move objects, and other than that, the regular laws of physics are going to apply. If you were to lift 1 kilogram up 1 meter in 1 second, that would require 10 watts of power. Yes, I am rounding up here. We're talking about mysterious psychic forces not landing the space shuttle. Approximations are fine, relax. It's roughly equivalent to lifting a large cabbage from your hips up above your head.
And yes, this is iceberg lettuce. Approximations are fine.
The boring, traditional way to lift things is with your muscles, which are about 20% efficient. So in order to generate 10 watts of power, your body will use 50 watts. Which is actually not that much. Like at that rate of lifting 1 kilogram, 1 meter every second, you'd have to do that for a minute and a half before you burned just 1 calorie. Whereas eating 1 kilogram of cabbage would be 250 calories. But also, don't eat a kilogram of cabbage by yourself. But now let's ascend to a higher level of human consciousness and lift this damn cabbage with our brain. So first, it's worth noting that by weight, your brain is the most metabolically expensive tissue in your body. It is 10 times more expensive per kilogram than muscle. It's 2% of your body weight, but consumes nearly 20% of the energy we eat. Your brain runs on about 20 watts. Everything your brain is currently already doing. Breathing, thermoregulation, language, the motivation to get off the couch and move your laundry to the dryer. All of that on a pretty constant 20 watts. But like your muscles, your brain isn't fully efficient. Estimates are that only about 50% of the energy goes into neural activity, aka thinking. So while some of it goes into the brain upkeep, like keeping cells alive, most of it, 9 watts or so, is lost as heat. So 20-watt brain is losing 9 watts of power as heat. And since every depiction of telekinesis I have ever seen involves the telekineser focusing really hard on the object, I'm going to assume that the 10 watts of cabbage lifting is going to be added to the thinking part of our brain. Assuming everything scales proportionally means we will also be producing another 10 watts of heat. So that's an extra 20 watts, which isn't a lot, except that you have now doubled the power requirements and heat production of your brain. And wait, it gets worse, because whatever this mysterious telekinetic force is, it will almost certainly act like sound and light that propagate out through the air, and it will obey the inverse square law. As something expands out, its intensity will go down by 1 over the square of its distance from the source. In order to have 10 watts of power lift a cabbage that is 1 meter away from you, your brain would need to produce 125 watts. 2 meters away, that rockets up to 502 watts. And again, 50% efficient, so 500 watts of psychic energy, 500 watts of heat energy. That is 1,000 watts that your brain now has to get from food energy. So 50 times what your brain needs normally. I think a nosebleed might be the least of your worries in that situation. In conclusion, you could overclock your brain, the most energy intensive part of your body, by 5,000% in order to lift a small object that is close enough to you to be reasonably considered within reach, or you could, burn less than 1 calorie by using your muscles.